This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
MyBookie presents Shake Them Ropes. Use code ROPES to get 100% your first deposit. Jeff Hawkins, Chris Novembrino, and Chris. Why can't they be friends forever? Why they have to fight? They're best friends, Chris.
Look, sometimes, Jeff, I know, it's hard. Sometimes when you win a couple of championships and then you win a couple more championships and then you lose those championships, mommy and daddy don't see eye to eye on things anymore. And dialogue is an important part of communication in modern society. And in this case, your two moms did not have that.
Chris, I haven't been this traumatized since I went to see Disney's The Fox and the Hound. Oh. By the way, if you want to screw up kids, make them watch Disney's The Fox and the Hound.
I have no memory of this. Like, what screwed you up about The Fox and the Hound?
Because they can't be friends because nature won't let them, Chris.
That's intense. See, for me, it was, you seen the Brave Little Toaster?
Yes.
Okay, for me, it was the junkyard scene in the Brave Little Toaster.
Okay.
Where all those cars are singing and then they get crushed. And, like, you know, each one has a verse or, like, a section of the verse. And then, like, one by one, they get pounded into dust.
Oh, okay. No, the other one that messed me up, the end of Time Bandits. Where they've you know, Kevin has gone back to his home, but his house is on fire. And his parents find a toaster, but it has that piece of evil in that. And he tells them not to touch it. And they touch it, they disappear. And Kevin just has this weird look on his face. And Sean Connery just kind of is playing one of the firefighters and he waves goodbye. And then it's the credits. I go, the hell was that? Is he going to be alone for the rest of his life?
They wanted to set up the sequel, but, you know, not every time are you able to get that sequel. But you want to leave that little seed out there like, oh, you see, this could happen.
Oh, well, today, kids, we are sponsored by Keeps. More on them later. Starting with a little sad news. 2020 has just been a gut punch for wrestling punditry and news as well. You know, we had Larry Zonka and Hyatt from 411. Keep Jim Valley of formerly of The Torch and Figure 4 in your prayers. He's in the ICU right now. But Casey Michael of Squared Circle Sirens, passing away at the age of 26. He had been battling health issues for a long time. A source for women's wrestling, but also a source for NXT in Florida. Just a champion for a lot of women who would not have a voice normally. Good dude. We talked occasionally, but I wouldn't say I knew him. I met him, I believe, at Mania Orlando. Good guy. From all intents and purposes. Any thoughts, or we can move on? One of the two.
I don't have any thoughts. You know, I saw the remembrances this week, but I did not know him particularly well and was not particularly familiar with his work.
I think the best tribute to him is all the women who are in WWE who thanked Casey. Sasha Banks, Nikki Bella, Mia Yim. I know Nicole Matthews did as well. Shazza McKenzie did. I mean, just people who have finally come into their own, really paying tribute to him. It's just 2020 is just continuing to suck eggs and we move on. Plenty of news this week to get to. This is Friday, so the Friday news dump happened. Vince McMahon sent a letter to talents on Thursday saying they have 30 days to stop engaging with third parties or else face fines, suspensions, and even termination at WWE's discretion. This includes things like Twitch channels, YouTube channels, TikTok accounts, Instagram stuff. Looks like Vince McMahon is looking for more control over the creative, but I believe in this letter as well, he said he not only controlled the images and likenesses of their characters, but these people's real names as well.
Ooh. Oh, man. And this, like, when I saw this headline, first person I immediately thought of is Big E, because he is on a main event push right now, and the New Day guys are one of the biggest beneficiaries of third parties because they've built out their brand beyond what they do inside of World Wrestling Entertainment as a company.
I was thinking Xavier Woods especially.
Yeah.
This is so dumb because the company doesn't do anything with these properties. These guys are going out there and expanding their brands, and I think it feels petty. I don't know if it's to control news because on Wednesday, AJ Styles on his Twitch revealed that he had gotten COVID, and they just want to lock down on that, or if it's just a lack of control thing, or even a lack of money thing, like WWE's not getting their taste. I mean, we have, like, a lot of the women have Twitch channels or TikTok channels, and Lana, Selena Vega, Paige. It's just ridiculous up and down. I don't get this.
I mean, I think you kind of nailed what the motivations are. So I think some of it's the discrete events. There was the one guy who Malcolm Bivens was managing who blurted out the finish to one of those NXT matches. Didn't he do that on a Twitch stream or a live stream of some sort? Instagram?
Instagram post.
Yeah, so so you had that. I mean, I think WWE would like to have a take or would like to have complete creative control over what everyone does, or have like veto power over what everyone does, or have the ability to just control the situation. I mean, I think the other part of it's just limiting the earning potential of these stars so that they have to make their money through WWE, and they can, even though they are only independent contractors for WWE, can only make their money while working at WWE as an independent contractor.
Yes, you're independent, but you only work for us.
Right. No, I mean, it's, you know, it's kind of like a joke construction, but McMahon time and again creates this paradigm with his independent contractors. I want to control you, but I don't want to have you as an employee.
A more on top of it company could learn to coexist and make it work for everybody. You could use it for marketing for your own company and marketing for them. You know, hey,
you just wouldn't view these things as threats.
Yeah. Because these guys are creative. You see it all the time, and you've seen it for years, where they're more creative outside of the job of being creative than in their job. And it's because of the system, of course, but still, you're like, good. Let's say a plane full of McMahons gets lost for a week, and everybody's kind of sitting around going, what should we do? It would be a far more fun program, I think, than what you usually get on the whole.
Yeah, I don't think it would be micromanaged at this level.
Right, and that's the perfect word for it. That's what this is. This is micromanagement.
Which is weird, because a lot of times this show feels like it's flying very much by the seat of its pants.
Brock Lesnar is a free agent. They have taken down his merchandise from the WWE shop because they no longer have permission to use it. Rumors abound. He doesn't have a lot of leverage, but he does have some leverage. AEW? I don't think so. I think Vince is gonna pay him to make him happy.
I just had a flash image of a Brock Lesnar versus Jericho match that I never want to see ever.
UFC is a possibility, but at 43, I just don't see him doing a camp necessarily unless for a big money fight, but I could see them doing John Jones. I know Strikeforce was kind of interested in a Fedor match. Brock's about the money, and Brock doesn't care about anything else, so number one, good for him. Number two, use the leverage. So we'll see what happens from there.
Brock Lesnar, I hate that guy.
It's Orange Cassidy's big brother Grapefruit.
Melon
Cassidy, and he comes out. Now I want nothing else though, or I want a big money match for King of Pro Wrestling versus Yano in New Japan.
Okay, but Brock Lesnar actually out there dressed up like Orange Cassidy's big brother in the denim jacket and everything, doing
with a shirt of himself, with a shirt of himself with glasses.
No, that would be way over. Ironically, like that. Actually, if he's all about the money, and you explained to him that this would make some money, I don't know, maybe.
Yeah. That first show, that first pay-per-view with a crowd back. There you go. Some goings from the E. Mauro Ranallo gone from NXT. Said to be an amicable splitting of the ways. He had not been on since the COVID outbreak. He had gone to Canada after spending a few weeks in out here in LA. Santa Monica, to be exact, if you want to be proper about it. But he's taking care of his mother right now as well. Had been rumors that his interest had waned a bit, but I remember reading the reactions to this, and I'm like, I get why people don't like Mauro Ranallo. Trust me. Week to week, he could be grating. But on those big takeover shows, when you need that kind of energy,
you need the big call, he was the big call guy. And the thing is, like, so I like Vic Joseph as your week to week guy. Like, and if we were back in like the year 1991 or whatever, I'd love Vic on my Saturday night show as the guy calling Saturday night. But when I need the big Monday night Tony Schiavone, this is the biggest night in the history of our sports style call, Mauro can do that in a way that really no one else employed by that company can.
Vic Joseph and Tom Phillips are a great vanilla base. But you can't have a vanilla commentator all of a sudden go ape, because they won't. You need that kind of energy, and I think that's part of what made the takeover special was Ranallo's genuine excitement at some of the stuff. Could he drop in too many pop culture references? Sure. But I will defend him. I
think some of that came from him being bored with the product. And this is entirely speculative, but I do think that there is probably a correlative relationship between him doing annoying pop culture references in a Spamish way versus doing them on occasion, and how good the product is that he has to call and how engaged he is with the storylines that they're trying to tell.
Yeah, and that's just it. I don't find Joseph or Phillips to be as engaged in the story. I know they're fans. I know Vic Joseph especially is a big fan. I'm and we don't even know how long Vic's going to be around, to be honest with you, but I'm interested to see him in a crowd setting to see if he can bring any form of energy with that, because I also don't think Stu Bennett or, well, Wade Barrett, sorry. Now that he's going back to the E, he has to use that name, or Beth Phoenix are bringing that either. Beth will just scream something, and Wade, I'll be interested to see what Wade does on a big moment.
Yeah, that'll be interesting, and I mean, I think Mauro leaving is also just a sign of the times in terms of what NXT has become during this run against AEW and what it appears to be continuing to be for the foreseeable future here, which is what you'd call it main roster with yellow ropes. And we, had a by the numbers breakdown that I shot you in the DMs where you could see just in the title defenses, the stipulative matches, how long title reigns last, just everything about this promotion that made it special, a lot of which was long-form storytelling and slow burns. those are all gone in favor of just a messy, kind of boring, slap-together product sometimes.
We have a lot more skits. We have a lot more of the things that make WWE, WWE, whereas before we were kind of like, oh, this is like a pro wrestling promotion. And it's 1 hour and it leaves you wanting more. I don't want more after a 2-hour NXT every week.
No, this week was a tough watch. I like that. An hour-long match is kind of excessive, but man, NXT does that on a regular basis. I mean, the other thing is NXT used to be an hour or under an hour, and it was boom, 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 and had less room for filler and had more room for a faster pace. And what I haven't seen broken down by the numbers, but would be interesting, is just average match length, average interview length, and everything in the 45 to 1 hour era versus this 2 hour era.
As I said before, Wade Barrett's going to be on the call, but Nigel McGuinness will be doing the color commentary for NXT UK from the United States because he's in the United States, which is interesting. NXT UK looking to start up tapings again.
I am very surprised that WWE is pressing ahead with this promotion because they've given it a shot, and I don't think it's ever really lit the world on fire, and I think it sort of peaked out. And COVID was a perfectly fine time to sunset this, and they have been making cutbacks and being profitable while doing so. It's amazing to me that NXT UK was not on the chopping block.
I agree. But on the chopping block, apparently, the Authors of Pain have both been released. Their entire treatment since getting moved up to the main roster was maddening from the start. You had the Paul Ellering stuff, and then you didn't have Paul Ellering.
Yeah, then you had when Paul Ellering got sent away, I thought that was a really bad portent for where they were going.
Yeah, and then you had Drake Maverick, and then one got hurt, came back. I believe the same one got hurt again. They decided to release both of them. They were part of the Seth Rollins story. Boy, if they both stick with pro wrestling, and I kind of hope they give old Paul Ellering a call. And I hope old Paul kind of calls up All Japan and says, hey, I got a couple of beefy boys. You remember the early 90s? Give them a shot. And I would be so down with that. I'd be down with them in New Japan.
These guys aren't bad.
No, and they have legit toughness skills. They have legit fighting skills, which would make them big in a strong style type promotion. If they decide to go with pro wrestling, I hope they continue as a unit, and I hope they just go over and they're the new, Williams and Gordy, and they just kill people. They ain't at Williams and Gordy level yet, but I want them to be a Williams and Gordy team, and then they build up their reputation over there, do a little bit more training, come over for a guest spot in a promotion in the States, perhaps, that is inclined to like Japanese wrestlers, such as, I don't know, one run by Tony Khan. I'd be all for this.
What promotion is that? Tony Khan has a promotion?
Oh, yeah.
He's doing wrestling now?
Yeah, it's a little thing called AEW. Maybe you heard of it? Something like that. Yeah. One of the more baffling things to come out of news this week, Retribution will now be only on Raw, Chris. Nothing says an anarchic group looking to make chaos like having to be on one program.
Oh, that's the first time I heard that. That's awesome. They completely lost interest in this angle already, and they're trying to find the escape hatch as fast as possible.
It's the scene from the Marx Brothers movie Animal Crackers where Chico's playing the piano and Groucho goes, you at the ending yet?
Yes.
Chico goes, I think I missed it. Groucho goes, well, if you come back around, do it.
It's supposed to be a parody of Antifa, but what do you call a parody of Antifa? Because this is like a parody of someone trying to do that parody.
Oh, and we can start talking about the main roster now. That thing with Angel Garza and the reject from The Bachelor.
She's a heck of an actress, isn't she?
Oh, if she's trying to parlay this into something.
Oh, I think she's got a bright future.
Oh, do you?
Oh yeah, no.
No. I'm sticking. No, please expound.
Well, I think it's her emotional range, Jeff. So a lot of times people have trouble delivering the right tone for the dialogue here, which is very wooden dialogue, and she delivered it with a very wooden tone.
Oh, I was hoping she'd be revealed as the leader, and that would just be peak
of retribution.
Yes. She's the brains of the operation. I'm the one letting them in this whole time.
McAfee was the off-ramp, man. They should have just went there. It's all McAfee's master plan.
Payback was Sunday. Easy 2.5 hour show, but nothing of terrible consequence to me other than I liked the women's tag match, at least 3/4 of it, because of course Shayna, Bailey, and Sasha are awesome, and a new Universal Champion, Roman Reigns, the Fiend, with the 6-day title reign. Chris,
yeah, I mean, I think a lot of us saw this coming with the pairing with Paul Heyman. It's the most interesting story, but yeah, no. Roman Reigns is your new Universal Champion. It's Universal, right?
Yeah, Universal. Let's get through Raw and then talk about the awesomeness that was SmackDown, because I think you and I agree that it was the best show for either company in a couple weeks, I think.
Yeah, I that's a fair assessment in my opinion.
Keith Lee took an RKO but didn't get beat. I think that was a bit of a mistake. Anything else from Raw?
Dominic Mysterio is fine.
Seth actually,
Rollins...
you know what? That match over-delivered.
Okay.
That match was pretty good over on Sunday night. The tag match.
Oh yeah, the tag match was good.
Yeah. He's solid.
I was talking about the Raw one. There's just something like I just don't like this Seth Rollins character. So, yeah, no, he's like a worse version of that guy, though. That guy, when he was paired with Triple H, even though he was like Triple H's #1 henchman instead of like an actual champion, that was a more enjoyable iteration of the Seth Rollins than this Monday Night Messiah character.
You do it much better than I did. I was almost going into Jeff Jarrett territory. The Iconics have broken up as a team, and it looks like Peyton's going to be the heel, judging from Raw Underground. They amuse me to no end. It's been obvious that Vince has some sort of affinity for Peyton, and look, she just got done. I think she got second place in the bikini contest. So I think they're going to see what they have with her as terms of a solo star, but Billy's kind of the personality of the group, which it's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about. Is I know that Vince is initially high on Peyton, but I think long term, Billy, who we've talked about in the ring, is not as skilled as Peyton. But in terms of characterization and in terms of selling, like she's great at selling, because she has these like, wow, like I Love Lucille Ball style faces as she's getting murdered, just like she was doing on Raw Underground. And they're hilarious. They are like high level heel bad guy selling fear stuff. And she's a good character. And in this company, in the type of matches that you're asked to have in this company, I don't know that she doesn't long term end up being the winner of the split here.
You gotta be joking me. Yeah, I don't. She won't be, because they're gonna have Peyton beat her 30 times on television.
Right. No. I think the big mistake here is, to me, the big mistake is turning her face, because Billy is not a baby face. Right. Billy is a heel. And
finally, I like the Hurt Business a lot.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say that I like them a lot.
Absolutely.
If in the hands of a more competent company, I would be very excited to see them week after week after week. MVP is phenomenal on the microphone. Shelton as kind of the stooge slash enforcer, I like, and they're hitting the right notes with Lashley as well. So I'm all for this. And as we said a couple weeks ago, now that Cedric's not going to be the one turning unless he turns next week, it's going to be Ricochet, isn't it?
The best part about that girl's dialogue, to go back to that high-level acting, was when she said, and, wow, Cedric, you never turned, did you? And she delivered it in a way that was so neutral that I couldn't tell if she was foreshadowing or not. See, Jeff, you're saying that she wasn't good at acting. I'm telling you, I'm here to say she is.
She's good for WWE?
No,
Can I say
objective, that? The platonic form of the good acting.
Let's get to the good. SmackDown this week. I liked the visual of Paul Heyman talking and Roman just dead staring into the camera. I wish he had spoken a little less, and I'm talking about Roman there, because watching him just with the death stare, like he's looking into all of us going, you all booed me. I dug it, and I dig this pair.
Yeah, no, I think Paul Heyman is a vast improvement from suffering succotash. And the one thing you don't have to worry about with this pairing is subpar dialogue, because even when Heyman gets tasked with going out and delivering a WWE-ish promo with a lot of WWE parlance, Heyman goes out there and puts his stank on it in a way that will always keep Roman above the suffering succotash no credibility line. And so long as he's there, I think it's a vast improvement. I think the only maybe misstep tonight was I thought the dynamic between Jay and Roman was off from what they were trying to do. Like, what they were trying to do is obviously, Roman's giving him the cold shoulder, doesn't believe in him, doesn't take him seriously, thinks he's just a tag team guy, and thinks he's like the lesser cousin or whatever. And like, something was just wrong about the dynamic between Jay and Roman. I'm struggling for the word for it, but like, they just didn't seem to be in the right emotional spaces.
Yeah, I think it was kind of the Roman needed to be in that space where, I don't know if this ever happened to you, but like a couple years after you graduate from high school, you go back to your hometown and you meet up with the friend who wants to reminisce about the cool things you used to do, and you just kind of give the, yeah, that was kind of cool type of thing. That's the vibe he needed, in my opinion, and he wasn't quite getting there. And I think Jay was kind of talking about nothing, so there weren't any stakes to it.
Yeah, that's the other part too. Well, I mean, he was literally talking about steaks. The stakes were quite literally steaks.
And we'd like to welcome our sponsor, Omaha Steaks. No,
Hey, if they want to sponsor us, I do a lot of cooking at home. I can talk about. Yeah, no, I can talk about your chuck roasts. What you got? What you got, Omaha Steaks? Send them. Meat.
And then clocking in at a hefty 42 minutes for the stopwatch types. And you know who you are. The story of Sasha and Aunt Pam has come to its natural conclusion, Chris. I thought this hit all the right notes. We must give credit, even when we criticize the WWE. We must also give praise. This hit every note almost perfect, I think. Starting from the promo, where it was obviously Sasha giving a babyface promo. Yeah, let's go win those titles back. And none of the stuff from previous weeks where she's glaring at the belt around Bayley. She's going to be satisfied with the tag belt. And Bayley's kind of, okay. They get to this match. Sasha's the fiery babyface. They're putting her over as the scrappy underdog, which may have been a May have been a bad point when she goes in there and cheats for the double team, but other than that, misstep. I liked it. I loved the beatdown after the match. I loved that nobody came to help Sasha because heels should not have friends.
Because she's been a heel for so long.
Exactly. I thought Bayley was good to great being vicious. I think there were a couple of there's a little bit of scenery chewing in the pausing, but I love the spot with the head in the chair for a women's feud. I find that very, very brutal. I think
I'll stop you though, Jeff. You know,
okay.
I think that this is a good spot for like the squash level person, like a Dana Brooke, to come out there and try to make the save. Like she's just gonna stand up for what's right or whatever, and then Bayley annihilates her.
Okay, yeah, I'll take that. I will take that. Yeah, I want. Now they got to follow up on it. Now I want to see the Bayley promo, because if the Bayley promo, I don't want to see cackling Bayley. I don't want to see cocky Bayley. I want to see evil Bayley, because this was evil Bayley, and I'm here for evil Bayley.
Yeah, no, I think this is a great twist. I think, you know, it puts new fire into her title reign. I also think that it sets a nice long-term story arc here, right? Like, we have hit the foreshadowing point of Sasha once again not being able to successfully defend the title. So I think what's going to happen eventually is she'll defeat Bayley, at least the temporary plan is. She defeats Bayley, and then she's able to hold on to the title for a lengthy amount of time. But this title win really means something. And to your point, this is a storyline that WWE, despite missteps along the way here, has done a good enough job where they have raised the stakes behind the title. Because it's not really about the belt. It's about the quality of the story and then the layers of the story, and the belt is but a prop in it.
I'm going to lay something on you. I think I've done this before, but I'm going to do it again anyways. I think they should separate Sasha and Bayley for now. I think they should draft Sasha over to Raw. I think she should win the Raw title over there. I think Bayley should remain on SmackDown. She somehow loses the title, maybe in a three-way when she's not pinned. She wins the Royal Rumble, and then she challenges Sasha for the Raw Women's title, saying, "We know you've never defended it."
That's Sasha's first title defense.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a good way to go. That's a good way to go.
And it kind of becomes the anti-NXT Brooklyn, where you have the doubts of Sasha, whether she can beat Bayley, and you have Bayley as the cocky, you know, I'd love to see her come out and escalate like Sasha did for Brooklyn. But you know what I'm saying? The roles are reversed here, and I think that would be perfect for WrestleMania. And I would go to WrestleMania in LA if they let me. If they let people in, and I would go to watch that. That would be an excuse for me to go see that. But they can't do it any sooner. I don't want them blowing this off at like TLC or, you know, Fastlane or something before Mania. This is the Mania match.
Yeah, no, I'm torn, right? Because, like, I would want them to hold this off till Mania, but this company is so fickle with its long-term booking that I don't trust it to have the patience to do that. Like, I'm relieved that we've gotten to this point in the story, and it's made as much sense as it's made so far.
Oh, with Sasha mad dogging the belt all those weeks, I thought for sure that they were going to make Sasha the heel. I'm like, oh God, if they do that, that's the biggest mistake they can make right now. The job is to make Bayley know Sasha to the point where she knows how evil Sasha could be and get at her. I thought it hit all the right beats. It was great. It was great. So, NXT ran on Tuesday. AEW ran on Wednesday. Both had increases in audience. Both did quite well. AEW over 900,000. I believe it finished fourth for the night. NXT over 830,000.
these are both respectable numbers.
These are respectable to the point where you'd think, and there's a rumor from our boy Sean Ross Sapp over at Fightful, that there have been talks of moving NXT to a different night. I don't think this is the worst idea. I've also heard that this hasn't been brought up, so there's two sides to it. But look, there's not going to be the competition in terms of ratings. There are two different demographics. Cut your losses, much like stock trading, and go on your way, I think.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, it seems like both are just losers in this rating war. What they end up doing is they fight over a small swing voter demographic.
There's 1.5 million wrestling fans who watch wrestling outside of Monday night and Friday night, and that's who they're battling for.
Yeah, right. And it's when you have them both running simultaneously, the audience will split 60-40 one week and 60-40 the other. Not, and it's just a small little needle moving in the center, whereas I think both could just end up with bigger portions of the pie if they were on different nights. And for WWE's point, it might make sense, and it might help them in the ratings war to run before AEW, the day before.
It's summertime, and at MyBookie, that can mean only one thing. It's winning season. Winning season means doubling your first deposit. Winning season means free bets, super contests, Survivor, and more. At MyBookie, winning season is all about your chance to win big. Bet NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs, Major League Baseball, UFC, and then some. The craziest sports summer of your lifetime is here. It's simple. Make your picks, win big, collect your cash. Invest in your intuition. Select from hundreds of future bets, or you can bet games in real time with MyBookie's live betting. Put that big brain of yours to good use. Use promo code ROPES, that's ROPES, and double your first deposit. New players get up to $1,000 in free play, designed to add more excitement to the sports you love and the games you bet. Thousands of cross-sports wagers, props, and parlays await. Sign up now to bet with the best and celebrate your victory. Your winning season begins today, only at MyBookie. Once again, that code ROPES, ROPES, and we thank MyBookie for sponsoring us for the past couple weeks. Yeah, there's no ratings war, Chris. It's not a war.
No, Jeff, there's a ratings war. I believe in it. I want a war. It's attritional. We're fighting for turf.
No skirmishes. It's a blowout because of the way they do ratings. It's for your line of work, it's the electoral college of it's not total viewers, it's the right viewers and who they get. So yeah, it was also a tale of two shows. I guess we'll finish up with AEW. So let's do NXT first. I found this show dull. And that's bad because a 4-way with those 4 guys, I was looking at my watch. I was, none of the falsely
none of the
genuine
preliminary stuff was really engaging either.
Yeah. Do you have the rundown in front of you?
Yeah, no. I mean, here, I'll hit you. You've got Breezango and Swerve Scott defeating Legado de Fantasma. Okay.
Props to Legado del Fantasma for coming out with black jeans with knee pads over them for the street fight. I incorrectly thought they hadn't, but this wasn't a street fight. This was an indie match with plunder. So
yeah, right, yeah, like or like a kind of Lucha Underground style match of sorts, kind of loose rules. Then you had Candace LeRae defeating Casey Cat Nazzaro. Okay.
Oof, that Candace promo wasn't very good. Casey Cat Nazzaro still looks like a child in there, no matter who she's up against.
A great squash opponent for Candace. But like I just everything about this, and then having Caden Carter come down to the ring with her and kind of stand by while Candace is, massacring Casey, that didn't help either of them. Then we get to Tim Thatcher defeating Bronson Reed.
Boy, so thank God we built up Bronson Reed, right?
Right, yeah. I thought this was weird. I thought this would be a really great opportunity to showcase Reed's power and his ability to kind of throw off Thatcher's locks and like maybe force a count out or something, but some sort of continuation here.
Yeah,
Reed shouldn't be straight up losing.
Yeah, well, in WWE land he didn't because Austin Theory came out and interfered.
Yeah.
But it's their mindset versus our mindset. No, he just lost. But in the interview before the match, I'm here for a Mercedes Martinez versus Rhea Ripley cage match. I'm here for that.
Yeah. No, I think that's going to be good. I'm looking forward to that. And then we got to our main event here.
60 minutes of spots.
Yeah. And pacing, and then spots, and then pacing.
And a lack of heat. And a lack of fighting.
The joy of a match like this. And I don't love the 4-man match, and the Iron Man format is not necessarily my jam either. But the joy of a match, insofar as you were going to have something like that, would be if you had really meaningful storylines that wove together these 4 individuals. And we were excited to see them all collide because we've been telling so many interesting stories. Like, to put it in like New Japan 2013 parlance, like you'd have like Tanahashi, Nakamura, maybe AJ Styles, and Shibata or something like that. And you have all these like built-in stories between these different people and these interesting layers. And just texture to it. And Johnny Gargano and Adam Cole don't really have anything going on right now. Adam Cole and Finn Balor don't really have anything going on right now. Adam Cole and Tommaso Ciampa don't really have anything going on right now. They're just in a match. Tommaso and Johnny's feud is not really particularly hot because they're both basically heels right now. And then, Finn Balor's there. He's a dude. He's a guy. He's hanging out. He's getting ready to be in a feud with people, but he's not really in a feud with people. So why do I want 60 minutes of this, Jeff?
I don't know. It looks like they're going back to Gargano and Ciampa again.
Who are we turning? We're turning Ciampa face?
Oh, that's true. That's very, very true. Oh, God, that's right.
They just did a stretcher job spot with the guy last week.
No. I was thinking who's the baby faces and who are the heels in this match, and for a second there I wasn't sure.
Technically, it's Adam Cole, but he's like an ice cold baby face, baby.
Yeah, well, like everybody's turned in like the last 4 months in this match, and you're just like, oh yeah, that guy's now a baby face. That guy's now a heel.
Finn Balor had been working in this tweener spot, and like basically Adam Cole's kind of in that same like tweener region too, with like babyface-ish tendencies. But this is the problem with tweener stuff. If they're not doing really, really, really cool stuff from a week-to-week basis, you just kind of get lukewarm on them because you don't feel the love, but you don't feel the hate either.
Oh, and we'll end with AEW, and we'll preview All Out. For 2020, why not? Let's step on some toes here.
Yeah, I'm here to step on some toes.
Dynamite.
Boom.
Oh, Chris, we gotta talk about this go home show. We gotta talk about the nature of a go home show. I understand for those of you who are younger viewers of wrestling, maybe even in your 20s, early 30s, and you just want a good wrestling show with good wrestling. And you want to see everybody have fun and everybody do spots, you probably might have enjoyed this show. I didn't hate it, but I'm just like, are they trying to sell this pay-per-view?
Right,
or not?
No, I get where you're going here. Santana and Ortiz versus the Best Friends. What is that? I mean, I guess it's sort of tied to the pay-per-view, right? But like, the Young Bucks and Jurassic Express versus SCU and Private Party. Like, I don't really know that made the close for me either.
Yeah, I'll go into the most maddening thing. Thunderosa debuted 3 days before the pay-per-view, where she is the NWA champion. She's the champion coming from another territory to take on
a lengthy match with Serena Deeb.
Yes.
A lengthy match.
This
should have been an exhibition of her finishing move.
Yes. It should have been a squash, or they should have done the squash last week and then maybe worn her out this week with Serena Deeb. I like Serena Deeb, don't get me wrong. I'm happy she's getting work.
It was cool to see her back on, but the other thing is, like, if you're someone who's been watching wrestling for a length of time, you are familiar with who Serena Deeb is, and the other issue here is she becomes, in a weird way, sort of the story of the match for you versus Thunderosa, who's the person who's going into the pay-per-view.
You're stealing a little bit of my Thunderosa, but I'll take it from here. Number one, they never said anything about Serena Deeb, and this is a problem on AEW where they just assume everybody watches everything and everybody knows everybody, and they don't, and they need to explain it. Number two, by the end of this match, commentary was putting over Serena Deeb as possibly getting a job with AEW. That is not the goal of this match. The goal of this match is to get us to want to watch the Shida Thunderosa match. Let me explain the psychology also of a squash match. Yes, it is supposed to get over the person's finisher. Yes, it's supposed to make them look like a badass. But there's also this thing in squash matches, and this is why I like them so much. There is when you look at a developmental talent, and this is something that died during the Monday Night Wars that a lot of people just, I don't think, understand. Like, if you go back and watch an old Superstars, you'll probably find it boring because squash matches aren't supposed to be good. They're supposed to build stars. And there's the everyman factor to a good squash match. You're watching someone who could be you. Oh, I could go in there and do that. I could go in there and be like the Monkeys or Tom Stone or, Barry Horowitz maybe if I exercise a little bit more, whatever. And then the wrestler comes in and they beat a quote-unquote normal person. So thus, they are larger than life. They're a bigger star. And then when you get one star going up against another star, it becomes a big deal. And what happened during the Monday Night Wars was we had all these great wrestlers on the undercard, but they were smaller. So we sacrificed them to the bigger guys. And so when we wanted people to be interested in these smaller guys who could really wrestle, eventually it waned. I mean, we liked the matches, but the star power of all those guys, from the luchadors to the cruiserweights to, on WWE, it was every guy got an entrance, every guy had a theme song, and then they try and push them, and we'd get skits and stuff like that, but their star had diminished. The point was to build Thunderosa over as a star, and it didn't do it, in my opinion, and not everybody knows who Thunderosa is.
Yeah, I agree, and there's a decent chance that if they are a more casual fan or a lapsed fan and they watch WWE, they might know who Serena Deeb is.
They might, but you might want to tell us who she is if we're going to go that far into it and we're going to put her over on commentary. She's a veteran. Great. Okay, tell me more. That's the time to bring in Veda Scott, because she could say it. I don't think she was around on that day, but still. What next, Chris? There's a bunch. Don't do the main segments. Let's do some of the mid-card segments like, I don't know. Let's do this other Jake Roberts Battle Royale segment.
Ooh, Jake, man, he continues to just be an active negative on the microphone, which is so weird because, like, it seemed like the one thing he still kind of had left was that promo, but like his just sense of timing is weird, and it feels like he's trying to tell a story that is contrary to what the plan is.
Yeah,
like he's kind of going into business for himself when he's on the mic.
Very much so. And I like managers. I like stables. But the managers are more interesting than their stables, and that's a problem. These guys need to be able to interact with the manager on the microphone and be able to have kind of a conversation with Tony if they're doing the thing and cutting a promo. But these guys need to learn how to talk. Otherwise, it's just going to be us wanting to see Eddie Kingston and Taz fight, or Jake Roberts and Taz fight. It's got to be more like the Revelation and Tully Blanchard a little bit, where you have Tully doing some talking, but you also have the Revelation doing some talking. It just, the segment didn't work for me.
Other segments of note here. Let's talk about this Dark Order versus Cardona Natural Nightmares and Scorpio Sky package. These guys need to have a little bit more going on. The baby faces do. We need to like them. We need to actually want to see them win. And I still feel a real sense of ambivalence. Like, they tried to connect the dots with, like, the Natural Nightmares saying, like, we want to get comeuppance for Cody. But, like, you know, Matt Cardona and Scorpio Sky. Cardona saying, I don't even work here, didn't help sell this match.
No, and he hasn't been repackaged.
Yeah, right. It made it seem smaller.
Yeah, you can't just put him on TV and say, oh, look, it's Matt Cardona. You gotta tell me a story with him. You gotta say something. You know, okay, he's Cody's friend. Great. But
if I were him next week, if I were AEW and I wanted to be ballsy about this, I would start making his storyline about having third-party services like Twitch and how Matt Cardona is a guy who's an exact victim of Vince stifling him for having a successful YouTube channel. Something like that. But you need to give this guy some sort of flavor.
Kenny Omega is a sneaky bad promo. I've never liked his promos all that much, to be honest with you.
No, but Kenny stinks. Like
I was trying to think what my issue here, and not just Kenny, but there's a few others here. Like Jim Ross's problem. I've come to
Kenny
the conclusion.
doesn't nail emotional spaces. Like, he's just saying the words, and he's kind of saying sort of the right words, but like his attitude is not a human being's attitude. Mm-hmm. It's like a weird impression of a human being.
I'm
attitude.
Playing the character of Kenny Omega as Kenny Omega in a Kenny Omega segment.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
I am Kenny Omega on TV right now.
Yeah. Whereas JR needs to be more centered in the reality of AEW versus commenting on it and then trying to be centered. Again, I think Kenny kind of has the same problem at times. He's a little too self-aware.
It's also, they tried to zig and zag a lot with the Page and Omega dynamic in a way that I think has left things weird. Because what Page is doing right now is so kind of nuanced and stretching believability. Like, I get that the apparent narrative is that he didn't want to fight his friends and he really likes the Bucks, but he didn't want to fight them. But like, at the same time, he's screwing over his boys. So it, like, I don't know. The easier way for them to have gone is Page is kind of enamored by FTR. Instead, they tried to, kind of, as I said, zig when they were going to zag or whatever, and they wanted to make this about Kenny now. And asking Kenny to carry the acting part of this is perhaps asking more out of Kenny than he's capable of delivering.
And then the two segments that were way too similar in tone, the Jericho Orange Cassidy and the MJF John Moxley segments. Which one do you want to take first?
Hit me with your Orange Cassidy takes.
You go with the Orange Cassidy Jericho one, because I don't have a strong opinion of it other than it was too similar. I guess it's fine.
It's okay. I just, here's my problem with the Jericho Cassidy thing. It's not new from last week. It's that Jericho kind of keeps smacking it over the head that, like, this is supposed to be a star-making thing for Orange Cassidy. And the more he says it like that, the further away you get from star-making.
I agree.
Like, I can't think... It's this meta thing. It's kind of going back to the Kenny Omega objection, where it's like, he's doing this weird meta thing. Jericho is trying to do a meta star-making angle with Orange Cassidy. This angle's gone on too long. And they're so enamored with this mimosa match.
Here's what's weird to me is that Jericho's basically expository, expounding, I guess. I'm trying to think. He's saying Just go with the simple word Hawkins, you moron. He's basically saying the TNA template, which was, we're going to get these WWE stars, we're going to put new guys in there with them, and then they're going to get the rub from it. And it just feels like, look, I think this is why the empty crowd is a problem. Because Orange Cassidy is over like Rover, and he'd be huge. On TV, it doesn't come off that way. That's the problem here.
Yeah, I think that is a problem. I think a lot of the problems with the writing of this angle would probably be negated by the crowd, or the crowd would have taken them a pretty good stretch of the way. What is the general consensus on the Mimosa Mayhem match? Do people think this is a good idea? Or like a cool, fun thing?
I think people find it funny.
Okay.
And that's kind of the AEW crowd, I think, likes it because it's their sense of humor. And then curmudgeons like myself and Jim Cornette don't.
Well, why don't you like a good fart joke, Jeff?
Well, no. You know what? There's plenty of comedy in wrestling. The problem is the MJF angle has way too much comedy in it. And And that's, to me, I would be far more forgiving of this program if the main event program were more serious.
No, the main event program to me is far more egregious. So why don't we move along to that?
We had a go-home show where the main event was plugged by a comedy match with the former indie and ROH star, I believe, Mark Sterling, playing the attorney here. The beatdown after the match was fine. If I hadn't just seen one with Chris Jericho and Orange Cassidy. But Garrett Kidney, our old friend, the guy who WWE broke, nailed this. The way they booked this was WWE light. That's coming from me. This is WWE style booking where the guy who gets the beatdown probably wins the match. So you have to have the heel come out on top. But there was a time, Chris, when we would plug pay-per-views with grudge matches where we would get a fiery babyface promo from Moxley after this beatdown, saying all the terrible things he was going to do to MJF. And that's what I felt was lacking in this.
Yeah, there's a much better way to have done this spot. So Moxley agrees to have the match with Sterling, and we talked about the issues with it because obviously MJF is faking the neck angle, and the reveal of his neck being fine seconds after the match made this match even more dumb. So in an effort to negate that problem, what should have happened during this match is Ambrose, instead of doing comedy with Sterling, should have initially started off with a little bit of comedy, and then it should have been absolutely savage on Sterling. As Wardlow looks on, mildly horrified, Ambrose grabs the microphone. He's beating up Sterling. He's like what Jericho was doing to Janela, like that, but like worse on Sterling. Gets done, finally hits him with his future shocker. What's it called? Impact changer. I can't think of the name of his
Paradigm shift.
There we go. Thank you.
Which is illegal in the match.
Yeah, which is illegal in this match, even though MJF revealed his neck brace to be totally fine after this match. So then you have
hold on, let me stop you. I am fine with that because they used to ban the pile driver in matches. That's old school. I dug that. That's fine.
I would be fine with that if Ambrose made it clear that he was trading that off so that he could massacre this lawyer. That, like, he wanted to just send a statement of brutality. And instead he was doing whimsy with the lawyer and toying with him. It should have been brutal. And then MJF comes down. Sterling's like, oh, you're here to save me. And MJF does something to Sterling and wipes him out. Then he attacks Ambrose. And you can still finish it off WWE style where the heel's standing strong so you can make sure the babyface wins at the pay-per-view here. But I thought they mishandled this, and it's been too much comedy throughout. And this was a really great time to drop the comedy and bring it home for the intensity of this match. Because the other thing, back to the TNA format, because you said it was WWE-ish, but it's also TNA-ish, the other hope here is that MJF is going to get the rub from working with the ex-WWE guy, Jon Moxley. And the way they have done this angle with all of the comedy and not kind of getting off of the comedy ramp at any point during the build of this has not helped MJF in his long-term goals. It hasn't hurt him, but it hasn't helped him, I wouldn't say.
So let's go through the all-out card. Got 10 matches here. 2, I believe, will be on the pre-show. I'll probably be watching this, I think, live.
When is this show, Jeff?
It is.
Gotta tell people.
This is Saturday night.
Saturday night.
Saturday night.
What's that from? Or what are we just doing that?
Tonight.
Tonight. I can second whatever you say. It's fine. I can make it work.
I don't know, but it's tomorrow night, tonight. If
2 nights.
Because most people will be downloading this on Saturday morning. Pre-show matches: Private Party taking on the Dark Order duo, formerly known as the Beaver Boys, Alex Reynolds and John Silver, who corpses like a madman. Who you got?
I'm gonna say it's Private Party. I think Private Party beats the Scrubs of the Dark Order.
I do as well. And in a cinematic match, because I believe Britt Baker is still not 100%. Britt Baker with Rebel taking on Big Swole in a tooth and nail match.
I think Big Swole wins this. I mean, it seems it would be so weird for Britt Baker to win this.
Yeah, I could see them doing it because it's not going to be a real match.
Right.
It's going to be...
And you could have Reba lose the match for Britt Baker.
But, I mean, if depending on how long it's going to be for Britt to be 100%, I would have Big Swole run right through her. But who knows? They might just be setting up for the wrestling match. So if they're doing that, I could see Britt Baker winning this. But I think Big Swole should win this.
Yeah, the other way to go here is you have Britt Baker win this because of Reba. And Reba proves herself to actually be useful, and Britt Baker doesn't appreciate it. That's
the other thing. A go-home show, or at least 2 shows ago with that many stipulations, this show has more stipulations than Starrcade 84. This thing is... And you know, being that this is their Starrcade, I don't have a problem with that. I just didn't need all the gimmick matches leading up to it.
Yeah, I mean... I guess I wouldn't have a problem with it, but then these stipulations are also like stupid stipulations, like tooth and nail, like they're Mimosa Deathmatch or Mimosa Mayhem. Like they're dumb stipulations. And if I told you a year ago that there was going to be a card that was going to feature stipulations like the tooth and nail and the Mimosa Mayhem match, you would have been like, oh, what are we're doing TNA from the middle of the last decade here? Like, you would have been hitting me with punchlines. That's all I'm saying.
In what has been the bloodiest feud in AEW history, Matt Hardy taking on Sammy Guevara in a Broken Rules match. If Hardy loses, he must leave AEW.
I think Hardy has to lose, right?
I think Hardy loses, and he has a new character that he's going to debut. That's not, quote-unquote, Matt Hardy. Of
course. Right. Yeah. Maybe he's Willow. Maybe he comes back as Willow.
He's... I was trying to think what's a synonym for Willow, but all I could think of was Pussy Willow, and I didn't want to say the other word.
He comes back as, like, cedar or oak.
Bamboo Shaft. Just... he's Shaft. He comes out.
Yeah. Get the Isaac Hayes music, dude.
Yeah.
Bamboo Shaft.
The Jurassic Express of Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus taking on the Young Bucks, Matt Jackson and Nick Jackson, straight up tag team match. I'll go. I think the Bucks lose to the Jurassic Express and do a beatdown afterwards and have to be restrained. I think the Elite are all going heel.
Yeah. All right. I'm into that. I think that makes some sense. Yeah. I think that makes sense. All right. Cool. I agree.
What could be a very fun match? 8-man tag match. The Dark Order of Brody Lee, Colt Cabana, Evo Uno, and Stu Grayson taking on Matt Cardona, Scorpio Sky, and the Natural Nightmares of Dustin Rhodes and QT Marshall.
I think the Dark Order win this match. I don't know. It could be a very fun match. It could just be a series of spots, and kind of my turn, your turn sort of match. So I could see it sort of going either way. But yeah, no, I think Dark Order has to win this match, especially after Private Party gained the win earlier in the night.
And I think QT Marshall's eat the pin because that's his job. The 21-man Casino Battle Royale. Darby Allin, Lance Archer, Brian Cage, Ricky Starks, Penta, L0M, Ray Phoenix, The Butcher, The Blade, Eddie Kingston, Shawn Spears, Billy and Austin Gunn, Jake Hager, Santana Ortiz, Chuck Taylor, Trent, and a mystery 21st man. Chris, let's do a couple of prop bets. Or you say who you think's going to win this. Give me who you think might be TBA.
Sting. Yeah, I nailed it.
Yeah, I can't. I can't control myself. I am thinking to be announced, and this is going off of no rumors whatsoever because I haven't seen any. It's either going to be the returning Pac or it's going to be Chris Hero. I think one of those two would be a good choice here. I think Darby Allin wins this.
Okay, interesting. I think we see whatever Eddie Kingston's got cooking, I think we see it come together during the course of this battle royal. And part of me almost thinks that maybe Kingston's entire angle is to win this Royal Rumble, like basically through like a Rube Goldberg contraption of backstabbing.
Okay, yeah. I could see that, but I could see him getting then foiled by Darby Allin. Like,
yeah, okay,
like
sure,
his plan happens, what's a modern corollary? Like JJ, this isn't modern, but this is my fandom. Like when they did the Bunkhouse Stampedes and the Horsemen were the only ones left with JJ Dillon, and they all decided to jump over the top rope to eliminate themselves so that JJ Dillon could have the victory. And then Lex Luger said no and threw him over the ropes. I could see something like that happening, maybe with like Ray Phoenix.
Okay, yeah, I could see that. And then you turn one of those four guys in the stable of sorts.
You turn Ray babyface, yeah.
Okay, sure.
Karoshita versus Thunderosa for the AEW Women's World Championship. Does Thunderosa win?
I don't think it would be a bad call to put the belt on her. But doesn't she also have her own promotion too, in addition to whatever commitments she has with NWA?
She's building one off of the ground.
Okay.
I believe.
Okay. So I think that it wouldn't be a bad call to put the belt on her.
But do they?
I don't think they do. I think it's sort of like, well, I don't know. I think they have Sheeta beat her. I actually think they have her beat her clean.
Yeah, I was about to say I do think they put the belt on Thunderosa, but then I realized what we got coming up later, and I don't think they're going to have that many title changes, but I think they like Sheeta. I think Sheeta's going to suffer quite a bit in this match, and I think they're going to try and make Sheeta stronger by having Thunder Rosa dominate this match for the most part, but I do think Sheeta wins.
I think the move, this is outside the box stuff, but I think the move here would be to do a double turn. Start turning Sheeta heel and turn Thunder Rosa face during this match.
I don't know if Sheeta works as a heel.
As in, like, she has not done work as a heel, or you don't think her act works as a heel?
I don't think her act works as a heel right now, and especially in a Fed where you have Nyla Rose and Britt Baker.
Oh, you
around.
Get that wood sword out there and let her go to chop on some people.
Actually, I could see Nyla Rose interfering in this match.
Okay, I could see that too. There you go. So then you have the non-finish angle.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the play here is to double turn him. But that's I don't predict that.
For the AEW World Tag Team Champions, your challengers, FTR, Cash Wheeler and Dax Harwood with Tully Blanchard, the greatest man to ever live, taking on Kenny Omega and Adam Page. I think I think they win the belts. I think it's a title change.
Oh yeah, no, I mean it seems like Kenny Omega and Adam Page's story has been told here too. So yeah, I think we are finishing the split between Omega and Page at the end of the match. Omega beats the crap out of Page. Maybe FTR comes in for the save. And like maybe there is a friendship that forms between FTR and Page.
Maybe
just these are his new friends.
Could be. What I want on it. Well, see, I could see Tully getting mad at that though. I just don't want the histrionic match. I don't want the drama match of, oh, Kenny and Adam aren't getting along.
Oh, well, Kenny's really good at doing subtle, so I don't think you have to worry about that, Jeff.
Chris Jericho versus Orange Cassidy in a Mimosa Mayhem match. The match can be won by pinfall, submission, or throwing the opponent into a tank of Chekhov's mimosas.
I hate that match.
Oh, Chris, if they did a pinfall without throwing someone in the mimosas, they would only
Orange
make me happy.
Cassidy taps out to the walls of Jericho in the middle of the ring.
Yes, that is what I want.
And then Jericho tosses him into the mimosa afterwards.
Yes, please give me that. Oh, who do you think wins? And if it's anybody but Orange Cassidy, you're wrong.
Okay, well, I think Chris Jericho is going to tap out. No, I think Chris Jericho is going to be hamming it up in the mimosa pool, screaming and making himself the focal point, and Cassidy will give a cool thumbs up at the end of this. And the inner circle is gonna come out and help me out of this. Come, and they're all gonna fall in as well. And you know Santana and Ortiz are gonna fall. Maybe the best friends push Santana and Ortiz in, and they're hanging out with their pal Orange Cassidy at the end of the match. The thing is, dude, like, when he accidentally bled at the end of that one Dynamite, like, that was the hottest he ever was, at least for me, but I think ever, period. Like, he was a cool guy, but he could handle, like, a badass situation. Like, that. The thing about him bleeding and still just giving the casual thumbs up is, like, clearly stuff is awry, and he's cool as a cucumber, and it makes, like, it shows that attitude is a mindset versus just like a guy who doesn't give a care about anything in the world. And they've just gotten away from that, man. They've just gotten away from it.
And finally, for the AEW World Championship, Jon Moxley taking on MJF with Wardlow. Chris, the floor is yours.
I think that MJF loses this match, right? But if...
Oh, hold on. I need to give the stipulation. Moxley is banned from using his paradigm shift.
Right. I think maybe a miscommunication between MJF and Wardlow is what costs MJF the match, though, ultimately. And that starts setting up the rift here.
I think there might be the rift that comes here. Let me throw something else out at you. If it's any referee other than Aubrey, there's a ref bump, and Moxley uses the paradigm shift anyways to win. And then MJF cries about being screwed.
Oh, okay, sure. So, like, that gives him his asterisk that he can put on this one loss of his and his otherwise perfect record.
Yes, and then we get lawyers and other things demanding that he's still undefeated. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. I could see him trying to legally stipulate that he's still undefeated after this match, and like the whole paradigm shift thing is like their way of preserving his streak or whatever. I don't hate it. I don't love it, but I don't hate it. Well, no. Okay, Jeff. At the end of the day, it ends up being a legal angle after it started off as a politics angle.
There.
And, like, I get you go, well, there's an intersection between politics and law, but, like, that's not actually what's happening here.
Well, and then we get a fantastic debate amongst Federalists and Anti-Federalists, and
Did he truly lose if according to the stipulation? Yeah, no, I look forward to that robust conversation. I welcome the discourse.
Again, we'd like to thank MyBookie. Go to MyBookie and use code ROPES and double your first deposit. You can follow me at CrapGame13. You can follow Chris at Chris Novembrino. You can just follow the show at Shake Them Ropes, all one word. All I do is retweet when Voices puts this up on the feed. We do not do anything like Chris like Rich and Joe do by giving our hot takes on that account. It's just, hey, when you want to know a new show, you can follow the account. Chris also is knee-deep in electoral politics right now. Tell us about Don't Worry About the Government.
Yeah, if you want some world news coverage, I got that. I got a whole episode of that over at don'tworry.tv. If you want a breakdown of the Electoral College map state by state, going through each battleground state, taking a look at the aggregate polls and historical data, kind of cross-referencing a bunch of stuff rather than just looking at national polls, you can find that over at don'tworry.tv. I'm at Chris Novembrino, ChrisNovembrino, and you, of course, can find Don't Worry About the Government on iTunes, Stitcher, and Spotify. Also, if you want guitar lessons, if you want to learn how to play the rock guitar like Dynamite, like Boom, you can learn it from me. Go hit me up on Twitter at Chris Novembrino or chrisnovembrino@gmail.com.
Chris, I want them to be friends again.
Jeff, if you learn how to play guitar, maybe your parents will love you.